Chapter 12 Water. Sources of water. Rain is the main source of water on earth. Some part of the rainwater seeps into the ground and gets absorbed by it. This water is called underground water. Some of this underground water is used by plants. Some of it is taken out through wells, tube wells, and hand pumps for human consumption. Some rainwater remains on the surface of the earth. This water is called surface water. It is found in water bodies like rivers, lakes, ponds, streams, seas, and oceans. In the past, people had to walk long distances to get water from natural sources such as rivers, streams, and lakes. Even today, in some parts of our country, people have to travel long distances to fetch water from wells and other sources. Now in cities and many villages of Bharat, water reaches the taps of our homes through pipelines. This water comes from rivers after it is purified and made fit for drinking. Hence, we do not need to go anywhere to get water. Ancient sources of water. In ancient times, when people had to travel long distances to fetch water for daily activities, some structures were built to store rainwater or to get underground water. Let's learn about some of them. Baolis or stepwells. Baolis or stepwells are ancient sources of water. They look like very large tanks with steps on all sides. These tanks were used to collect rainwater, and people used this water to meet their daily needs. A number of baolis can still be found in Karnataka, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. These baolis are not used anymore and very few are left till date. However, due to acute water shortage in our country, people have started thinking about recharging the old baolis. Pyao. The word pyao simply means a water booth. In ancient times, kings used to dig wells on roadside for travelers. These wells were called pews. Nowadays, local people or charitable organizations set up earthen pots filled with water or water coolers on roadsides, near gurudwaras, temples, etc. to make water available to people free of cost. Water for irrigation. Different crops are grown in different regions depending upon the quantity of water they need. Crops like rice and jute need a lot of water. They are grown in regions that receive plenty of rainfall. Millets are grown in drier parts as they do not need much water. Wheat and sugar cane are grown in areas that receive moderate rainfall as these crops need moderate quantity of water. Tea and coffee are commonly grown along hill slopes where water is available in plenty but it does not stagnate. To grow well, plants need a constant supply of water throughout the year. Thus, water has to be made available through irrigation. Watering of fields by artificial means is called irrigation. Wells, tube wells, canals, and tanks are some major sources of irrigation in Bharat. Wells are deep holes dug into the ground to bring underground water to the surface. Water is drawn out of the wells using a bucket and rope. Nowadays, diesel and electric pumps are also used to draw out water from wells that are very deep. These wells are called tube wells. Canals are small channels that are dug to take water from rivers to fields. In some places where the ground is hard and wells cannot be dug, rainwater is collected in low-lying areas. These are called tanks. Farmers use different types of devices to irrigate their fields. Some are discussed below. Water wheel. Water wheel is a large wheel-shaped machine which utilizes the energy of flowing water. It has buckets attached to a wheel. When the flowing water strikes the buckets, the wheel rotates. Rotation of the wheel causes the water in the buckets to fall on the other side. The falling water is directed into the channels used to irrigate the fields. Water wheels are also used to draw water from wells. Windmill. A windmill uses wind energy to draw water from a well. Water pump. An electric water pump is also used for irrigation. It is used to draw underground water. Properties of water. A large number of substances dissolve in water such as sugar, salt, lime juice, milk and even gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. Water is therefore called a universal solvent. While it is quite useful as we are able to consume a lot of salts and medicines too with the help of water, but it is also harmful. Can you think why? By dissolving a lot of unwanted materials, the water bodies like rivers and lakes get polluted. Drinking impure water can cause a number of diseases like jaundice and typhoid. Sinking and floating. What would happen if you put a nail and a cork in a beaker filled with water? Nail would sink to the bottom, while cork would float. When an object floats, it can stay on the surface of water by itself. Why do some objects sink and some float? When you put an object in water, it displaces certain amount of water to make place for itself. You can watch displacement of water by putting a ball in water and see how the level of water rises. An object will sink if it weighs more than the water it displaces, and an object will float if it weighs less than the water it displaces. This fact was discovered by a famous Greek mathematician Archimedes. Let's recall. Number 1. Rain is the main source of water on earth. Number 2. In cities and in some of the villages, water from rivers reaches the homes through the pipelines. Number 3. In ancient times, people constructed bowls to store water and plow on roadsides for long-distance travelers. Number 4. Well, tube wells and tanks are major sources of water for irrigation. Number 5. Sinking and floating of an object in water is governed by the Archimedes principle.